Good day, YouTubers, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all over the world. We got the first yard arm done and mounted on the ship. I'll show you guys in a minute what's going on there, but I'm working on the blocks for the second yard arm now, getting them ready to mount on the arm, using this vise so I don't have to fight with these little dinky things. So I can get a good solid knot. So there we got 6 of these 5mm blocks, and then we got 2 of the double hole blocks that are going to go on each end of the arm. I got one already tied on there, so the instructions say 45mm apart from center. Oh, hello, Tamassee. Say hi to the crowd. He's out inspecting the chickens this morning, making sure the neighbor dogs are behaving, and getting in trouble himself. What was that? A couple days ago, I was gonna cook spaghetti for dinner, and I had the box of spaghetti up on the counter waiting for later in the day when I cook the hamburger and all, do the noodles. And while I was out here working on the ship, he snuck in the kitchen and got that whole box of spaghetti and took it out yonder in the yard and crunched it open and crunched up the spaghetti. I had to throw it away, and he didn't eat none of it because it was probably too hard to eat, I guess. I don't know, he might have eaten some of it, but probably wasn't easy to eat without being cooked. So we got 45mm off the center for the first 2 sets of blocks, and then 17 and 13, and then the ones on the end. So spacing isn't too complicated. And while we're holding the camera here, I'll show you the first yard arm that we got done. I went ahead and put this background up so it's easier to see what we're looking at here. But we got 2 blocks up on the top here that are for lifting the yard, the arm, and they tie off to the yard arm itself for lifting it and raising and lowering down the mast. And then they go down to a big block here that's tied off to this post with an extra loop of rope. And I'm not exactly sure how that tie off was, so I just did it the most logical way I could based on the pictures in the instructions, which were sort of vague in there. They give you a little direction of where the rope runs. So the top part's pretty easy. You got 2 blocks up there that lift and lower, and then the bearing for the sliding effect as it comes up and down the mast. But down here was where I was confused, because they show a blow up of that detail in the post that we had to add. It wasn't in the original build part, but it's showing up here, so I went ahead and made one, put a pin in the bottom of it and glued it to the base. I got a hole through the side and then a rabbit cut around the top for a tie-off point. But the arrows here in yellow that show the rope run aren't really complete as far as start and finish. So I just winged it with the most logical fashion. And got a little extra loop of rope on the deck down there. So I think it'll be just fine as far as detail goes. You can always get so I'm happy with the way it came out now. Today I'm going to work on trying to get this one done and the bearings mounted for it to install and get it installed up here. So Tamassee's a very lovey-dovey, doesn't bark very much, but is sneaky. When he got that box of spaghetti, he'll go in the bathroom and get trash out of the trash can, munch on it. I don't know where he's at right now. That's what I'm looking out here, see what he's up to. He might have went in the house, hopefully. I'm about to go in there and shut the door. Oh, there he is. Come running up behind me. So we got a little bit of training to do. They think I got him from animal control. They think he's 2 or 3 years old. But he's got a nice spirit about him. He works pretty good in the house. We haven't had any bad episodes of defecation or urine, so he's definitely potty trained. He loves being out here running around. It's nice and chilly today. We had down in the 40s last night. Another cold spell coming through Florida. So it hasn't warmed up much today. I'm gonna go in there and look at the chickens. They've been getting 4 or 5 eggs a day, even though it's winter time. There's probably some in there right now. I gotta make sure this door is shut and latch so he don't come in here. Tamassee probably like eats some fried chicken. Oh yeah, there's one. That's a fake egg there just to help him learn to lay eggs. Miss Henny Penny, you got an egg under you? Oh yes you do. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, and another one over here. So that's 3, and I already took one in this morning. Makes 4. Here comes the gang. Yeah, she let me pick her up. The black one let me pick her up too. Most of them will let me pet them. You get personal because you're in here every day checking on them and feeding them and everything. Make sure they're safe and secure and well fed. Aren't you? Yeah? She said enough of that. Enough of that. So now I gotta pocket these eggs. Without breaking none of them. And of course, Tamassee loves eggs. If I do break one, I'll give them to her. Or I find one in there broken. So let me work away on this second yard here. Well, since we can't see the top and the deck down there below at the same time, let's just see if we can do the top here. We got the lifting rope tied off above the crow's nest. I put some super glue on this guy, but I don't think it's stiff enough. You dirty rat. I already drilled this hole out 1 millimeter. Yeah, it's not stiff enough. So, I gotta add some more glue to this, and then I could take my little threader. took the rag and wiped it off the first time. I think when I use that rag, it takes too much off. It's hard to say. Okay. Let's try this one instead. It's really awkward here. Since we put glue on that, it may give us trouble coming back through. Yeah, I think we got it. I don't pull a knot here. Okay. I'm going to go from the back to the front this time. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this little, it's a threading device for needles. Works good on these blocks if your glue don't work. So there's my lifting rope. Now it's got to go down through the crow's nest to a baling pin. Baling pin? How do you pronounce that? Let's get this camera down low. And then down lower. So here's the baling pin. I call it baling. It's like baling wire. You tie baling wire and make rebar tie together. It's with baling wire. Baling hay. You tying the hay up. That's why I call it a baling pin. Baling. I know there's probably a French connotation to it or something. But my trick is to get it around the pin on the bottom where it sticks through. And then I go around the top one time to get it to hold there. And then we'll do that reverse. Oh, see, it came off when I let go. I'm checking up above to make sure we're high enough. So I want to make a loop here. And then turn that loop upside down without that thing coming off of there. Once I get that loop turned upside down, put it back over the top of the baling pin and then pull it tight. It's a real easy knot. Do it again so you guys can see. You get a loop, turn that loop upside down, put it over the pin, and then pull the slack out. And then the rope that's left over, you don't want to cut it off unless you're going to pre-make little loops of rope you can hang on there. And in this case is what I did over here for the main yard arm, was made a loop separate and then tied it off so my cut in. So this is the trick that I use. This is a suction cup from Automated Machine for picking up little parts. It goes on a vacuum hose, but it's made out of silicone or whatever, and it's soft on the end, and it's got this nice little lip you can use to wrap the rope, and then a little glue on it or whatever, and then once it's ready you pull it off of there easy without hurting the loop. So you can make, 5 or 10 loops to create a little pile of rope in a loop, and then pull it off. So on one of them I was able to just roll it up and it grabbed itself, and then put the glue to it, and then pull it off when you think it's dry enough. But it's really awkward working up in here with this thing, so I'm going to make those loops up ahead of time in the vise and then pull them off and just hang them on there. And I might even make the loops bigger than this diameter so that it better fits the scale here. So we got that second yard arm hanging and rigged up, and the standing rigging or whatever is installed. And now we go for the last yard, and I'll work on that next week. Thanks for watching.